We're just going to do a really quick sitting introduction. I mean, I think we all know how to sit generally, but we don't always sit in the most functional way for our body. So this is something that's a little bit of an aside, and it's also transferable to if you're sitting in a chair, which is really nice, I think. So finding your way to a comfortable sitting position, keeping your hips up a little bit higher than your knees, and then just for a moment, notice where the effort is coming from, particularly if you tend to be a little bit tight around the back. What will happen is these back muscles will pull your lower back into a little bit of a rounding. And then what most people do is they tend to then use the same back muscles, especially the spinal extensors, to kind of push themselves back up into a straight back. But the thing is, these muscles kind of weren't made for that heavier postural load. So what we're going to do is you can just take a moment to kind of collapse a little bit into the back. And we've been working with these imaginary goats or small children. And you can imagine that actually first, without the small animals, we'll just place them to the side, but just notice what happens when you lift the legs. So they might already be up, and then lift them some more and feel that you're turning your hip flexors on. So now we can get those small children or animals again, place them on our knees, or just imagine heavy sandbags on your knees if you prefer. And then I'm trying to do the same thing. So you're trying to lift your knees up. But now what happens is the knees are locked in place, your hip flexors are turning on, and your lower back comes into its more neutral position without you having to use your back muscles. So you're using these really strong hip flexors instead. We'll try that one more time. So just collapsing through the lower back. So just to tell you, when most people are sitting, they're doing the same thing. They're using the back muscles. And again, you can use your hip flexors there. So collapsing, imagine this really heavy load. You might close down your eyes. You can even place your hands on your hip flexors to help you feel it. And then really slowly imagine you're trying to lift your knees up, hip flexors fire on, and that's what brings your lower back into neutral. So just something to take with you, not just in your yoga practice, but also when you're sitting at a desk. Try and use the hip flexors instead of the back. This will relieve a lot of pain from the lower back over time. And then we'll just come into our seated posture with the eyes either closed or half open. Still using those hip flexors to keep you upright, but at the same time allowing the pelvis to be heavy and neutral. Allowing your spine to be long, crown of the head reaching up, and shoulders softly falling away from the ears. And then straight away finding a place where you can comfortably follow the breath. So whether that's at the nostrils, chest, or belly. And then see if you can follow just a couple of breaths from the very beginning to the very end. Not changing the breath just yet, simply noticing. And then very slowly, if it's in your practice, you can start to constrict the back of the throat and find that ujjayi sound. So this has a couple of functions. This sound helps us to more easily manage how much air is coming in and out of the lungs, so we can smooth out the breath. When I say smooth out the breath, what I mean is often we tend to take about 80% of the breath in the first half of the time that we inhale, and then only 20% in the second half. But you're trying to make it even. So you're bringing in 50% in the first half, 50% in the second half. Finding a little bit of that constriction in the back of the throat helps you to find that. It also gives you a sound, something to hold on to with the mind. We'll take about 3 or 4 more breaths here, just following that gentle oceanic sound. If you don't like making the sound, don't worry, don't do it. Just focus on even inhale and exhale. And then we'll start to move a little bit with the breath. So on your inhale, reaching your arms up. On your exhale, bringing your chest to face to the right. Inhale, lifting the fingers up a little more. And then exhale, bringing your elbows out to the side. Take another inhale here. Exhale to center. Inhale to reach the fingers up. Exhale, facing to the left. Take an inhale to reach. Exhale, elbows bend. Inhale to center, fingers reaching up. Exhale, chest faces to the right. Take an inhale, reach the fingertips up. Exhale, elbows bend. Inhale, center, fingers reaching up. One more time. Exhale, chest faces to the left. Inhale to reach. Exhale, elbows bend. Inhale to the center. Inhale, fingers reach. Exhale, chest faces to the right. Inhale to reach. And this time, exhale, allowing your right hand to drop behind you and your left hand to drop to your right knee. Soften the shoulders. So we've done this once before in class. This twisting from the core. And that's what we started out with here, finding these core kind of rotational muscles to help us get into the twist. And then instead of yanking our way into it, keeping those engaged. Now, often when we come into a twist, we tend to collapse again into the lower back. So see if once again you can find those hip flexors to bring you that natural curve in the lower spine. We'll take one more inhale here. And then with the exhale, come all the way around, bringing your left hand beside you now and reaching your right fingertips up and over. So we're coming into a side bend. Now you can bend a little bit through that left elbow. What sometimes tends to happen is the left elbow goes back, and that's not as nice for the shoulder. So try and keep your left elbow coming in towards you and really reaching those right fingers up and over as they are reaching for something that's just out of reach. But as much as you're reaching, you're pressing this right sitting bone down. Dropping your right hand behind your head. So you're getting a little bit of an opening now as you try and roll your chest up towards the ceiling. Take one more deep inhale here. And then the exhale, putting yourself into center. We'll come to the other side. So inhale, reaching the fingertips up. Exhale, chest faces to the left. So these are the rotational muscles working. Inhale to reach once more. And then exhale, keep those rotational muscles switched on as you drop your left hand behind you and your right hand to your left knee. You can also place your right hand more on your lap if you like. So a couple of pointers that we're going to be focusing on as we move into some twists this morning. One of them we're practicing now, getting the rotational muscles firing up. Also keeping that curve in your lower back and trying to focus the twist in the upper spine, the thoracic spine. So that's actually the part of the spine that's healthiest to twist, not so much the lower back. We'll take one more inhale here. And then exhale, coming all the way around, bringing your right hand beside you, reaching your left fingertips up and over. Getting this really nice side body opening. So the spine moves in flexion when we fold forward, in extension when we come back, to the side each way and twist. And for a healthy spine, it's nice to try and move in every one of these directions most days. Take one more inhale here as you lengthen out. And then exhale, just dropping your hands forward, coming to hands and knees. So your wrists here are roughly underneath your shoulders, knees roughly underneath your sitting bones. And as always, we'll start with a gentle opening of the spine. Just wait for your breath, smooth it out, find your ujjayi. And then with your inhale, pointing the tailbones up, one vertebrae at a time, coming into an arched spine, gazing forward. And then with your exhale, one vertebrae at a time, rounding the spine, dropping the head, coming into that Halloween cat pose. And then just continuing with your breath. So even though we're moving on from the focus on back bends, try and still keep those little pointers that we were working on. So focusing the arch in the upper back, smooth distribution of the curve, still trying to keep those integrated each time you come into your back bend. And then slowly coming back in towards center. And we'll work a little bit on strengthening up the hips as well this morning. So we've done this one before. On the inhale, you're reaching your right leg out behind you. Take a moment to feel that neutral pelvis, so you're not opening the hip up or dropping it down. Pressing that left leg away, inhale. And then with the exhale, round through the spine as you draw your left knee in. Inhale, left knee to the side. Exhale, press that left foot up. And then inhale, reach it out again. So exhale, left knee draws in round the spine. Inhale out to the side, adduction. Internal rotation as you exhale and press. And then inhale, kick the left leg out. One more time. Exhale, draw the knee in. So we're getting all the movements of the hip. Out to the side, inhale. Exhale as you press that foot up. And then inhaling to reach. We're going to stay here. Walk your hands forward a little. And then tucking your right toes. And if you can, in one motion, lifting yourself up into a three-legged dog. Nice. And then bending your left knee, dropping your left heel towards your left sitting bone, and then drawing some circles with that left knee. So we're really getting into the hip this morning, mobilizing. You can imagine yourself kind of, if you're moving slowly, maybe sweeping out the dust from that hip socket. Circling the other way if you haven't already. And then reaching that left leg back out. Exhale, drop the right knee down and drop the left knee down. Take one cat-cow just to smooth out the breath. Inhale, find that smooth inhale. Exhaling all the way up to the end around the spine. And then we'll come to the other side. So reaching your right leg out behind you. Again, take a moment first just to feel the hips being neutral. So right hip has a tendency to drop up. Bring it back in line. Inhale to press away. And then exhale, draw that right knee in. Inhale out to the side. Exhale, rotate the foot up. And then inhale, take it back up. Exhale, knee draws in. Inhale out to the side. Exhale, press that heel up. And then inhale, kick it away. One more time and with your own breath, no rush. Exhale. Inhaling out to the side, try and keep that left hip steady. Rotating up. And then kicking away. Again, stay here. Walk your hands forward a little. Tuck your left toes. And then reach your right leg up. Take a moment here, press the mat down and away, and then drop your right heel towards your right sitting bone. And then again, drawing some circles with that right knee. So move slowly, so you're really kind of exploring your own hip joint here. And once you circle a couple of times one way, circling the other way. And then gently dropping your right foot down. Taking some moments here in your downward facing dog with both legs down now. So you can gently walk out the heels, maybe dropping one heel and then the other heel towards the mat. Maybe you'd like to shake out the head. Maybe swaying your hips a little left to right. Any movements that feel good to you. Remember to reuse the whole circumference of your hand. So particularly thinking about pressing your thumb and your index finger down. So by pressing the thumb and the index finger down and at the same time rotating the shoulders out, you're getting a bit of a lock, a banda through the arms that keeps you strong. Take one more inhale here. And then with your exhale, very slowly, gently walking the feet forwards towards the hands. Take a moment there, place your hands in your elbow creases, finding any movements that feel good. So you can sway the upper body a little if you like, left and right. Shaking out the head. Remember, keep the knees really nicely bent here, especially in the morning, especially at the start of class. No tension in the lower back. And then dropping the fingers down. On your inhale, coming halfway up, shoulder blades down and back. Exhale to soften 2 more times, move with your breath. Inhale halfway up, opening the body. Exhale to fold 1 more time. Inhale halfway up, natural curves of the back. Exhale to soften, drop a little bit more weight into your heels, and then very slowly take your time as you roll your way up. 1 vertebrae at a time. Allowing your head to be the last thing that comes up. Finding your Tadasana. Smooth and steady in your breath, and smooth and steady in your gaze. Palms opening out to the sides, shoulder blades down and back. Find that little bit of engagement through the inner thighs, pressing the feet down, all 10 toes pressing evenly. So we get a little bit of a rebound whenever we stand. The more we're connecting to the earth, So you're feeling the earth and you're kind of pressing down into it with your feet, the more your crown can reach up. And then on your next inhale, reaching the fingertips up. Exhale, soft bend in the knees as the fingers come down. Inhaling halfway lift. Exhale, flow your right foot a large step behind you. Taking an inhale here, and then exhale back to plank. We'll take a couple of breaths in this first plank. Now remember, last week we were working on our chaturanga and up dog, but the important thing is to notice how you're doing in your shoulders, your lower back, and if it's too much, you just come down to the mat. Decide where you're going, and on your next exhale, lower yourself down, chaturanga or to the mat. And then on your inhale, if you're coming into up dog, remember legs stay off the mat. And then with your exhale, find your way back to downward facing dog, however feels good for you. Remember, child's pose is always there if you need it. Nice. Beautiful form, everyone. On your next inhale, reaching your right leg up behind you. Exhale, draw that knee tight in towards your nose. Softly place the right foot forward. Take an inhale. Exhale, left foot forwards. Inhaling halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Take your time. Press the heels down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, hands through center. Inhale to reach. Exhale to fold, soft bend in the knees. Inhaling halfway lift. Exhale, throw your left foot a large step back. Take an inhale, take your time. Exhale to plank. Again, choose where you're going to go. Don't rush. Maybe you're bringing your knees down this time, and then either coming through chaturanga or down to the mat. Remember, if you're coming to up dog, come to the tops of the feet and lift the legs off the mat. And then with your exhale, however you want to get there, coming into a downward facing dog. Remember, child's pose is always an option. So what can you do right now to soften a little through the parts of the body that don't need to be engaged? The shoulders, the neck, the jaw. On your next inhale, reaching your left leg up behind you. Exhale, knee to nose, gaze to the hands, softly. Placing that left foot down, take an inhale. Exhale, right foot forwards. Inhaling halfway lift. Exhale to fold, press the heels down. Inhale, reach the fingertips up. Exhale, hands through center. One more time, inhale, reach. We're going to add on now a little bit, second round. Exhale, fold. Inhaling halfway lift. Exhale, flow your right foot a large step behind you. Take an inhale here. Exhale to plank. Stay in your plank. Couple of options. You can stay here or lift the right leg. For the most challenging option, maybe just for a breath or two, reach your left fingers forward. Take an inhale to lengthen. Exhale, hand and foot down. Inhale in plank. And then exhale, choose your variation. Maybe this time you come all the way down. Inhale, choose your back bend. Maybe it's a baby cobra. And then exhale, coming through tabletop, tucking your toes, reaching your hip creases up and back. Smooth out your breath. So I think one of the nicest things our yoga practice gives us is this interoceptive awareness, which is just a really fancy word for knowing what's going on in your body. And then being able to respond to that. So maybe being like, well, that just doesn't feel good to me right now, and skipping whatever you want to skip. On your next inhale, reaching your right leg up. Exhale, knee to nose, softly placing that right foot between your hands. Stay, take an inhale, reach the fingers up. We're going to come into some more twisting here. So again, first reach through the fingers on the inhale, and then on the exhale, bring your chest to point to the right. Feel for a second how your core muscles, rotational core muscles, are switching on to get you there. Keep them switched on, As you now exhale, reach the arms out, and then placing your left hand on your right knee, and maybe your right hand onto your left thigh. Soften through the shoulders. So instead of just pulling yourself into it, you're using 50% core, 50% arms. If it feels okay for the neck, you can gaze towards the back wall. Maybe you lift that back heel a little more, and then come a little deeper to find more of the hip flexor opening. Take one more inhale here. And then exhale, cartwheel the hands all the way down to the mat. Take an inhale there. Exhale, left foot forwards. Inhaling halfway left. Exhale to fold, press the heels down firmly. Inhale, reach the fingertips up. Exhale, hands through center. Final side. Inhale to reach. Exhale to fold. Inhaling halfway left. Exhale, float your left foot a large step back. Take an inhale here. Exhale to plank. Stay in plank. This optional little core balancing practice. Maybe you're lifting your left leg. Maybe you stay. Maybe you see what happens if you reach your right arm. Inhale. And then exhale, gently come back down. Inhaling in plank. Exhale, choose your vinyasa. Chaturanga up dog or coming down to the mat. Inhale, choose your back bend. Exhale, making your way back. Downward facing dog. Or maybe you just think, no, the child's pose is good for me right now. So the more advanced we get in this interoceptive awareness, the more we can start to take that awareness into our daily lives and notice when maybe we're getting a little flustered or feeling pressured, and then respond wisely before we're reacting. On your next inhale, reaching your left leg up behind you. Exhale, knee to nose, softly place that left foot between your hands. Take a moment, find your balance, and then with your inhale, we're reaching the fingers up. Nice again. So on the inhale, you're lifting, and then on the exhale, you're bringing your chest to face this time to the left. Again, take a moment, feel those rotational muscles switching on, and then with the exhale, bringing the arms out, bringing your right hand to your left knee, and your left hand somewhere on the right leg. Maybe you're lifting that back heel, coming a little further forward. Soften through the shoulders, and maybe you're gazing back. Smooth out the breath. One more inhale here. And then with your exhale, cartwheel your hands back down. Inhale in lunge. Exhale, right foot forward. Inhaling halfway left. Exhale to full press the heels down. Inhale, reaching the fingertips up. Exhale, hands through center. Take a moment. Hands can be in front of you or beside you. Maybe you start again with whatever sensation is most clear to you. So you might feel your circulation, your breath. And then from there, see if you can expand. So almost like you have a flashlight and the spotlight is growing to include your whole body, all sensations evenly. And we'll come into some standing poses. So dropping your hands to your hips. So it doesn't really matter. What I'm trying to say is come to the long edge of your mat so you can most easily see the screen. So whichever way that is. And then we'll start with bringing the legs wide. We're coming into warrior two, and then pointing your left toes out to start with. Now remember, your left toes are pointing out, your right toes are coming in slightly. So your knee and your toes are pointing in the same direction. That's important. Hands on the hips, and then bending the left knee. Making sure that left knee is right over the heel. So it's not falling in. but you're a little bit pressing it out. And then without losing that, you can gently try and roll that right hip out. So you're getting this little bit of hip opening. On an inhale, reach your arms out. Exhale, squeeze the shoulders up. And inhale, release as you lengthen. Gazing towards the middle finger of the left hand. Roll the shoulder blades down the back. The stronger you can feel in your legs, the lighter you can feel in your upper body. Find that focus of a warrior. Take another inhale. And then with your exhale, floating your left palm up and then bringing that left hand all the way behind you, coming into your reverse warrior. Now, as an option, you can take this right hand and bring it around your back. Maybe you're just holding onto your t-shirt. Maybe your right hand comes to the crease of the left hip. And if you've got that right hand, you can use it to a little bit get that opening in the right shoulder. Keep reaching, so we're back into our side bend here. Maybe you're gazing down, forward, or up. One more deep inhale. And then with your exhale, coming forward, if you can, keep that right hand, so you're either holding onto your trousers or t-shirt, or in the hip crease, and then bringing that left forearm onto your inner left thigh. So if you're holding onto something with your right hand, you can use that right hand to get a little bit more of the opening through the chest. And then maybe you're gazing up to the ceiling. Find your breath. Where is your attention right now? Release the right hand, bring it to your right hip. This next one's a little bit tricky to come into. Just shuffle your right foot forwards a little. And we're going to come into a half moon, so a quarter moon, I guess. And very slowly, you're thinking about reaching that left hand up, and you're just coming as high as you can come with keeping the body straight. So hopefully you don't have guitars in the way like I do. Maybe you're coming further down, but either way, you're not just dropping the body and allowing that leg to kind of hang. So you're thinking more about bringing the body up. Nice. We'll take another 2 breaths wherever you are. Strong through the leg. One more inhale. And then exhale, slowly dropping that leg back down. Shake it out. And then we'll come to the other side. So you can still stay facing the screen. Again, your legs start pretty wide. And then pointing your right toes this time to the short edge of the mat. Left toes in slightly. And then bending that right knee. Right knee's over the right heel. And then without losing that, you can draw this left hip back. And then inhale to reach. Exhale, shrug the shoulders up. Inhale to lengthen as you release. Gazing to the middle finger of that right hand. Strong in the legs. Nice. Smooth, steady breath. And then with your next inhale, pointing your right hand up, coming into your reverse warrior. Left hand can stay, or if you want to take this variation, you grab your trousers or t-shirt, or maybe you're bringing your left hand towards your crease of your right hip, grabbing a hold of whatever you can grab. Keep reaching back through that right arm, finding that deep side opening here. One more inhale. And then exhale, keep the left hand where it is, if you can, and bring that right forearm to the inner right thigh. Allow the shoulders to soften. And then you can use this left hand to kind of draw the left shoulder back. So you're getting more of an opening. Maybe you're gazing up at the ceiling here. Smooth out the breath. Stay strong in the legs. And then release the left hand. Again, we're coming into this 1/4 half moon. No, just 1/4 moon. So with your left hand on your hip, reach your right fingertips up and think about keeping this from head to foot in one long line. So maybe you're not coming far down the ball. That's fine. You can keep that bottom knee slightly bent, but keep your left leg super strong. We'll take 2 more breaths here. Find your balance. One more inhale. Exhale, slowly come down. Shake it out, nice. I'm going to come down to the mat for some more twists. So find your way back into the top of the mat. Inhale to reach. Exhale, softly fold. Inhaling, halfway lift. And then this time, exhale, just step your way into your downward facing dog. Final, strong downward facing dog. Also a nice place to see if you can feel any difference to your first downward facing dog. Taking another inhale here. And then exhale, softly bend the knees down. Now, I really recommend for the next few poses, again, sitting up on a block. If you're not super open in the hips, if you're feeling a little bit tight in the spine as well, I'm going to face you from the side. We're coming into some a little bit deeper twists now. To start with, bending your right knee up, and then placing your right foot to the outside of the left leg. Now, your left leg can stay straight if you want, especially if you have any knee issues. Otherwise, you bend the left knee and you sweep that left heel towards your right sitting bone. On an inhale, reaching your fingertips up, and then again, exhale. Chest comes towards the right. Again, we're using the core muscles first. Inhale to lift, and then exhale, right hand drops behind you. You can either just hold onto this right leg with your left arm, or for a little more, you hook your left elbow to the outside of the right knee. Now, a couple more pointers in the twist. We've already spoken about keeping the natural curve of your lower back. So you might notice here that the lower back is collapsing. Try and keep the spine long. Try and rotate mostly from the upper spine. So you can almost imagine like a kind of pointer here in the middle of your chest, and that's the point from which you're trying to twist around. Maybe you're gazing back, if that feels okay with the head and neck. Another pointer, the head tends to fall forward for most of us. It's how we have the head most of the day. Try and bring the back of the head in line with the sacrum. We'll take one more inhale here to lengthen. Exhale to twist a little deeper. And then coming all the way out of it. Just bringing your hands to the left for a moment, dropping your head a little to untwist. And then with the legs as they are, we'll come into one hip opener before we come to the other side. So your first option is just to continue to slide this right knee on top of the left knee. Your second option is just to cross the right leg in front of the left leg. Either one works fine. And then whether you've got the knees on top of each other or you're in more of a cross-legged position, you can then walk your fingertips forward and come into a forward fold. So if your knees are on top of each other, it'll look more like this. If you're still not feeling much in the hips, you can always shuffle your legs away from you. That'll make it a bit more intense, or a lot more intense. With your fingers reaching forward, reach your hip creases back, crown of the head forward, and if you like, you can find a little bit of a sway here. Soft through the shoulders, gently opening through the hips. Take another inhale. And then exhale, walking your hands back in towards you. Just bringing your hands behind you so you can release the legs, place them in front of you. And for a second, while you're opening the chest, just allow the knees to drop left and right. A little bit of a self-massage here as well, through the hips. And then coming to the other side. So I'll just turn around, but you obviously don't have to. Starting with both legs straight, bending your left knee up, and then placing your left foot to the outside of the right leg. You can keep this right leg straight, or you can bend the right knee so that the heel comes towards you. Again, we're starting with this core activation. So inhale to reach the fingers up. Exhale, chest comes to the left. Take an inhale to lengthen, activate. And then exhale, dropping your left hand behind you. Right arm can just hold this leg if you want. Or maybe you're hooking the right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Soften through the shoulders a bit more if you can. And maybe you're gazing towards the back of the room. So some of the back pain that we get is because the lower back is actually meant to be quite mobile and the upper back is meant to be other way around. The lower back is meant to be quite stabilized and the upper back is meant to be quite mobile. We often lose some of the mobility in the upper back, which means the lower back has to kind of tense up because it becomes too mobile. So really trying to focus here on bringing that stability back in the lower back and instead twisting from the upper back, the thoracic spine. So you're adding back in some of the mobility that might have been lost. With each inhale, you're getting a little taller. With each exhale, you're coming a little deeper into the twist. One more inhale here to lengthen. Exhale to twist. And release, bringing your hands to the right. And just dropping your head to the right for a moment. Coming back up. And we'll come into our hip opener on this side. So either sliding your left knee on top of your right knee, or just crossing your legs with the left leg in front of the right. And then walking your fingertips forward, feeling that really nice opening through the side body. If you like, you can sway your hips a little left or right. Breathing into the side lungs. So remembering those balloons that we found last week in the left and right side ribs and opening them up with each inhale. Taking one more inhale here. And then exhale, walking your hands back in towards you, just releasing yourself from any props if you've been using them. Bringing your hands behind you, fingers pointing in or out so you can open the shoulders and then just dropping your knees left and right. Releasing, getting a little bit of a massage through the glutes. Hello, glutes. And then coming back in towards center. Gently rolling yourself onto your back and bringing your knees in towards your chest. Dropping your feet back down, hands behind you. We're going to come into one gentle, easy bridge here. Exhale, press the lower back down. Inhale, one vertebrae at a time, lifting the hips. If you like, you can interlace your fingers underneath your back. Press the heels down. Reach the spotlights of the sitting bones towards the ceiling. Open up left and right. This beautiful lateral expansion of the rib cage here. Take one more inhale into that. And then exhale very gently, lowering your spine. One vertebrae at a time. Tailbone is last. Feet mat distance apart, knees together, hands to the belly. Feel your breath. You might like to drop your knees again, left and right. And then, whenever you feel ready, draw your knees in towards your chest. And as always, this is where I stop my chattering away, and you can finally actually just feel what it is that you need. Actually, I'm going to say one more thing. I heard something really nice, which is that one of the things that we remember when we practice is that our body is not just a taxi for the mind, for the brain. I feel like sometimes we do get into that. Our body just becomes like a machine to carry our brain around. And one of the nicest things we can do for our body is to actually just feel what's going on without judgment. And then whenever you feel ready, but there is no rush, we'll come to a final supported posture. You can be on your back or you can be seated up. It is, once again, 9 o'clock exactly. I will be leaving you in Shavasana for 4 minutes from now. If you need to rush off, of course, I completely understand. Otherwise, making yourself feel supported. allowing your body to be carried by the mat, by the earth. Knowing that in these few moments, and they might be the early few moments of this day for you, where there is absolutely nothing to do, nothing to prove, just listening. Listening not only to sounds, but also to sensations. From the most evident sensations to the most nuanced ones. Each posture in our practice just gives us a different opportunity to get to know ourselves. And this final posture, most of all, so with no distraction, where does your attention go? And most importantly, how do you respond when your attention goes? Very gently, you can start to deepen the breath again. Bringing some small movements to your fingers, toes, wrists, ankles. Maybe you like to make yourself really long, so you reach your arms up overhead, create all the space you can, fill your body with inhale. And exhale, maybe you like to make yourself really small, so you draw your knees in and curl yourself into a tight little ball. And roll yourself over to one side. And then whenever you're ready, you can come to a seated posture. You might keep your eyes closed. If you like, you can keep your hands down in your lap, or you can bring your hands up, palms to touch, shoulders soft. Feel your whole body expand like a balloon on the next inhale. And soften towards its center on the exhale. You might like to take a moment to thank yourself for taking this time. In any case, I'd like to thank you all for practicing with me. Namaste. Thanks, everyone.